Please, help me.
Get away from me, you ugly old woman!
Next mirror you touch will be the last thing you ever see.
Zola was a stunningly beautiful young woman, with flawless brown skin, full lips, and long, sleek black hair styled flawlessly. She would always wear luxurious flowing silks and gold jewelry. When she walked through the marketplace, men stared with their mouths open, to the disgust of their wives. Zola was drop-dead gorgeous, but her heart was as cold as ice. She was consumed by pride. She spent her days surrounded by 1,000 mirrors. She would laugh at those she considered ugly and treat her mates like dirt beneath her feet. "Why should I look at you, when I can look at perfection?" she would sneer, raising a mirror to look at her perfect face. One afternoon, during her usual walks, Zola was admiring herself in a small silver hand mirror, when a ragged old woman stumbled into her path. The woman reached out a shaking hand, asking for help.
Please, help me.
Get away from me, you ugly old woman!
The old woman didn't move. Suddenly, her eyes flashed with a terrifying, purple light. Her voice changed. It became deep and heavy. "You value your reflection more than human kindness, Zola? Then I shall grant your wish. Since you love your face so much, you shall never look away from it again."
The next mirror you touch will be the last thing you ever see.
Zola laughed, thinking the old woman was simply mad. She tossed her head back and walked home to her luxury apartment, her heart still full of venom. She walked straight to her bedroom, to her favorite mirror. A massive, beautiful piece framed in pure silver. She stood before it, pouting her lips and smoothing her hair. "The last thing I'll see," she mocked. "I could look at this forever." As she reached out to touch the glass, the surface didn't feel cold. It felt liquid, like warm water. Before she could scream, a powerful force gripped her wrist. The mirror swallowed her. Zola was pulled headfirst into the silver shadows. She banged on the glass from the inside, her screams muffled and silent to the world. No one heard her, so no one could help her. Zola sat inside the glass, frozen in her beauty, waiting for a hand to pick her up. Will the girl in the mirror find a way out, or has her nightmare just begun?
Many years after Zola had vanished into the silver shadows, a new kingdom rose and became the Empire of Azari. The ruler of this empire was Queen Malikica. Malikica was a woman of terrifying beauty and even greater vanity. She spent millions on rare oils, scented makeup, and jewelry that could blind a man in the midday sun. But Malikica had a secret fear. She feared the day she would no longer be the most beautiful woman in the world. One morning, a humble subject brought a gift to the palace to seek the queen's favor. It was a massive, ornate mirror framed in pure ancient silver. Though the frame was old, the glass was so clear it looked like a hole in the wall. Malikica was enchanted. She had it placed in her private chambers, right next to her bed. But as she stood before it to admire her face, the mirror did something no other mirror could do. It didn't just show her reflection, it sighed. "Who is there?" Malikica demanded, her hand reaching for her golden dagger. From deep within the silver shadows, a soft, echoing voice replied,
I am the truth you seek, my queen.
It was Zola. After decades of silence, Zola had learned that she could only speak when someone looked into the glass with the same vanity she once had. She was trapped, forced to serve whoever owned the mirror. Malikica realized the mirror was enchanted. It couldn't grant wishes, but it could see everything in the land. Malikica leaned in. "Mirror," she whispered, "tell me what I want to hear. Who is the most beautiful in this kingdom and all the lands beyond?" Zola, trapped in her silver prison, looked through the glass at the queen and says,
You, my queen.
You alone are the most beautiful in all the land.
Malika laughed, a sharp, cold sound. For 3 years this as her ritual. Every morning she asked, and every morning the girl in the mirror gave her the same answer. But Malika's greed was growing. She heard news from the neighboring kingdom of Roko. Their king was a good man, a man of immense wealth and power, but he was drowning in sorrow. His beloved wife had passed away, leaving him alone with a tiny baby girl named Goldie. Malika didn't care about the king's grief. She cared about his throne. She decided she would marry him, not for love, but to become the most powerful and most beautiful queen the world had ever seen. Will the king fall for Malika's beauty, or will the girl in the mirror warn him of the danger? In the neighboring kingdom of Roko, there lived a great king who was loved by all. His greatest joy was his wife, the queen. When the queen got pregnant, the entire kingdom waited with bated breath. The day the child was born, the sun seemed to shine twice as bright. They named the baby girl Goldie, for her golden brown skin shimmered like pure gold in the light. She was the most beautiful sight the kingdom had ever seen. But the joy was cut short. The birth had been too much for the queen, and before the sun set that day, she passed away, leaving the king in a sea of silent grief. The kingdom mourned for a whole month. The king was so heartbroken he could barely speak. But when he looked at little Goldie, he saw his wife's eyes looking back at him. For 5 years, the king raised Goldie with the help of the royal maids. He poured all his love into her. Goldie grew into a smart, outspoken, and gorgeous young girl. Her golden skin and white hair, a constant reminder of the light her mother left behind. But the king was lonely. He wanted a mother for his daughter and a partner to help him rule. News reached him of the beautiful Queen Malikica from the Empire of Azari. They said she was the most beautiful woman in the world, a queen of a modern and wealthy land. Thinking only of his kingdom and his daughter's future, the king sent for her. The day Malikica arrived, she brought dozens of trunks filled with gold, jewels, and rare perfumes. The wedding was the biggest ceremony the kingdom had ever seen.
I'll love you till the day I die, my queen.
My king.
There was feasting for 7 days and nights. The people of Roko rejoiced, happy to see their king smiling again. They welcomed Malikica with open arms, believing she would be the mother Goldie needed. For a while, things seemed perfect. But Malikica was only playing a part. She didn't care for the king's kindness, and she grew to hate the way the people looked at little Goldie with such adoration. Every night when the palace was quiet, Malikica would lock her doors and stand before Zola. "Mirror," she would whisper, her voice cold and sharp. "Is there anyone in this new land who dares to challenge my beauty?" And Zola, trapped in her silver cage, would say,
You, my queen. You alone are the most beautiful in all the land.
But outside, Goldie was growing, and the sun was beginning to set on the king's happiness. The king is about to make a choice that will change Goldie's life forever. What happens next? The peace in Roko didn't last. 3 years into the marriage, the king decided he had to secure the kingdom's future. He planned a massive voyage across the Great Salt Water to the Iron Continents to bring back new technology and foreign investors. 8-year-old Goldie clutched her father's royal robes. "Papa, please don't go," she begged. The king kissed her forehead, promising to return with treasures. But he never did. Months later, A lone, battered ship returned with a shredded royal flag. The king had been lost to a monstrous storm at sea. The kingdom wept, but Queen Malikica did not shed a single tear. Behind the closed doors of her chambers, she stood before the silver mirror and smiled.
Finally, the throne is mine, the kingdom is mine.
Malikica's reign was a nightmare. She became a tyrant, overtaxing the poor villagers until they had nothing left to eat. She stopped the supplies the king used to give the people and used the money to buy mountain-high piles of makeup, scented oils, and heavy gold jewelry. The once vibrant kingdom grew quiet and impoverished under her iron fist. And what of Goldie? Malikica hated the girl's shimmering beauty. So she stripped Goldie of her royal apparel and threw her into the royal stables. For 10 long years, Goldie was forced to do the dirtiest jobs, scrubbing the kitchen floors, tending to the horses, and sleeping on a thin mat. Malikica hoped the soot and the hard work would dim Goldie's light. But you cannot hide the sun. Before we continue, let me know in the comments where you're watching from and hit the like button if you're enjoying this story. On the morning of Goldie's 18th birthday, she stood by the well, washing her face. Even covered in dirt, her skin shimmered with a beauty that no expensive cream could match. She had grown into a woman of grace and quiet strength. In the palace, Malikica stood before her mirror, draped in a new gown made of crushed diamonds. She asked her daily question, expecting the usual answer. "Mirror, who is the most beautiful in this kingdom and all the lands beyond?" Inside the glass, Zola trembled. She had watched Goldie grow from a sad child into a magnificent woman. For the first time in 100 years, Zola felt she couldn't tell the lie anymore. "Queen Malikica," Zola's voice echoed cold and clear. "Your beauty is a painted mask bought with stolen gold, but in the stables a true flower has bloomed. Goldie's light has surpassed yours. She is now the most beautiful in all the land." Malikica's scream of rage shook the palace walls. Her face twisted into a mask of pure hatred. She didn't just want the throne anymore. She wanted Goldie gone forever. "The queen has called for her deadliest guard to unalive the princess. Will this be the end of the golden princess?"
You must unalive the princess.
My queen!
Take the girl to the forbidden forest tonight. Bring me her heart in this golden box.
Yes, my queen.
The golden princess was marked for death, but the queen didn't know that the walls have ears and the mirrors have eyes. That afternoon, while Goldie was cleaning the floor of the queen's private chambers, she heard a desperate whisper.
Goldie, Goldie, look at me.
She looked into the silver mirror and saw a beautiful girl looking back at her.
I am a prisoner here. The queen has ordered your end, Goldie. You must run now, and you must take me with you.
Without a second thought, Goldie wrapped the heavy mirror in a thick cloth and fled through the servants' entrance just as the guard's footsteps echoed in the hall. She ran into the dark, forbidden forest. Exhausted, Goldie sat by a campfire, looking at Zola's face in the glass. It was there, under the stars, that Zola told her life story of her own pride, the witch's curse, and the 100 years she had spent stuck in the mirror. Zola wept for her sins and for the life she had wasted. Goldie's heart broke for her. She didn't see a magic object. She saw a sister in pain. "No one deserves to be a prisoner of their own mistakes forever," Goldie whispered, touching the cold glass. As Goldie's hand of pure compassion hit the surface of the mirror, the silver began to glow with a blinding warm light. The glass didn't break, it melted. Zola stepped out of the mirror, a living, breathing human being for the first time in a century. The curse was broken by a pure heart, but they weren't safe yet. "We must go back," Zola said, her voice now strong.
Must go back. I have seen every secret Malika has hidden. I know where she keeps the stolen wealth of your people.
They returned to the palace at dawn, standing before the gathered, hungry crowds. Zola spoke with the authority of 100 years of truth, exposing Malika's lies and showing the people the secret vaults where their grain and gold were hidden. Seeing the two beautiful women, one shimmering like gold and the other a legend returned to life, the people found their courage. They rose up and drove the tyrant Malikica out of the kingdom forever. She was banished to the very forest she had tried to kill Goldie in. Goldie was crowned the rightful queen of Roko, with Zola as her closest advisor. The girl in the mirror was finally free, and the Golden Queen finally found her throne.